Hey, I'm Agent and I turn odd ideas to life. And since it's Halloween, the season of ghosts and fears, I decided to sculpt Ghostfreak. First things first, I'm diving straight into the head, feels like the most important part of this character. I start by building a small base with armature wire, and for the bones lining the side of the face, I switch to thinner wires to get the final details. I'm not gonna sculpt the head upside down, like the reference. Instead, I treated a normal head to keep better control while working. Once I've got the main value in place, I start blending the clay and then move on to adding details with my tools, because in sculpting, we always go from the big shapes down to the finer details. After shaping and adding all the details, it's time to add the teeth, which I made using Nika's translucent clay. And now for building the body structure of our ghost, I bring the reference back in to make sure the size is right. Yesterday, I found an open pack of Nika Sculptica frame clay in my cupboard. It was already unwrapped, and I thought, why not? I'll use it to build the sculpture. Since I don't have enough time to finish the sculpture, I'll be using the magic of editing to cover the whole aluminum armature with clay. Once that's done, I start blending everything together, smoothing out the seams and shaping the surface, just like you can see here. After I get the general form, I attach the neck, blend it in, and place the head right on top. It is still not quite the size I'm going for, so I add a bit more clay to the back and shoulders, then I blend it again until it all feels right. To make the design a little creepier, I raise the spine area so it sticks out more, gives it that unsettling eerie look. And sometimes when I'm blending the clay, all I need is the back end of a brush. Simple, but it works perfectly. Finally, I can use an extra armature wire to support the tail, just to make sure it holds the clay on top. Then I use a dotting pen to add the texture I want across the neck, chest, back and tail. To make it look a bit more natural, I switch between different dotting sizes. It gives the surface a more organic and realistic feel. Since I'm a bit lazy, I just use the same dotting tool to carve out the chest crack. As this monster wants monstering, it should have more monster spikes, so I start making a bunch of spikes with Nika's translucent clay. After they're baked, it's time to place them one by one on our ghost body. Honestly, I'm a bit scared of this now. To get rid of all the fingerprints, I use Nika's magic finish and a brush. It smooths everything out perfectly. After baking, I have to carefully remove all the spikes step by step, so that after painting, I can put them back exactly where they belong. Now it's time to make the little doohickeys poking out of Ghostfreak's chest. I start with some wire, then shape them with clay to get the form just right. After all that, it's time to make the ghost's arms. To start, I drill 2 holes, insert the wire, and then cut it down to the right length. Now I use aluminum tape to fix the armature wire in place. Then, bit by bit, I start adding clay according to the sketch, shaping it until it begins to take form. After that, I go back with the same dotting tool I used for the texture earlier. And as I blend in the clay, I also bring back the texture, slowly refining it until it reaches the final shape. Just like before, to add more details, I can use different sizes of dotting tools. I'm not even sure if these are its fingers or its claws. Whatever they are, it's time to attach them. Then by adding some clay between the joints, I can give them a more natural fleshy look. After baking, I carefully remove the arm. Just keep in mind that before adding the clay for the arm, I have already dusted the surface of the body with a bit of cornstarch. And now I can repeat the exact same process for the other arm of Ghostfreak. In this part, I need to cut the sculpture at an angle to prepare it for the main base. Now I can start building the base, and my idea is to make it look like the ghost is facing through a wall. So the base will be made of 2 parts, the ground and the wall. Since I'm still running short on time, I'm using super glue to stick some sandpaper onto the base as asphalt texture. Then I'm trim off extra parts and repeat the same process on the other side. For the wall, I wanted to go with a brick texture. Normally, I'd use some foam for that, but since I'd have to wait until tomorrow for the stores to open, I decided to improvise. So I covered the wall with clay, pressed some aluminum foil to give it texture, mark out the brick spacing, and finally carve the lines with a ruler. Just bear with me on this, it's gonna look awesome in the end. With the wall finish, I drill a hole right in the center to stick in a rod that will hold the body and tail of the sculpture. Later, I attach the rod to the second part of the model, so the sculpture can be separated whenever I need. Here, I mix a bit of 2-part epoxy clay so I could create a reflection of the model passing through the wall without having to rebake anything. Basically, it's a cheat to cover the gap between the wall and the model. I had to apply it on both sides of the wall, around the model, and give it some texture. Guess what? It's final painting time! I start by mixing a bit of thinner and some black multi-surface paint and cover all the edges and asphalt. Then I mix some orange with a little bit of white to paint the wall with a nice brick color. Finally, I use some shoe polish to coat the surface and wipe off the extra paint. Then I came back with a dry brush to give the edges a natural highlight. And voila, it is our base. To finish it off, I use an airbrush to apply a purple base. Then with a makeup sponge and a lighter shade of purple, I add some highlights on the raised area to give the sculpture a more natural look. For the tail, I cover it with white paint, then use the airbrush to create some soft black streaks across it. At last, I cover the face of the model with a bone color, and finish it off with a layer of shoe wax. We're getting close to the end now, and the only things left are putting back the spikes on the back, the shoulders, the arms, the elbows, and finally the fingers. After putting in all the little doohickeys, the only thing left is the eye of Ghostfreak, which I finish off with a mix of several shades of pink.